I've been building this closet from scratch and there has been some challenges. But I'm almost done building it and I'm getting to the exciting part. So if you've been following this journey, you know that this is what my closet used to look like. And since we have so much clothes and so much stuff in here, my goal is to build a closet where we can neatly fit everything and everything is easy to find. Ooh. So we spent some time decluttering it, and to stay on a budget, I decided to keep the IKEA dressers we already have, plus get an extra one. I also sent my design to a company to get a quote and they came out to be over $7,700. So yeah, that's why I built it myself. And so far I spent almost $1,200, but all of the big stuff is bought. So hopefully from here on it's just smaller expenses. But I still have quite a bit to go. Clogged again. This is not gonna work. I just really want to scream in frustration right now. So my plan is to seal the wood. So the look I'm going for is a wood look inside the cabinet, and the outside is gonna have trim that is painted, and it's going to be painted black, just like the dressers, because I like the color of the dressers already. So it's gonna be black dressers, black trim, black wallpaper with some loud flowers on top, and yes, there's going to be a mirror also on this wall. And the rest of the walls are also going to be black. And I am gonna bring some more lighting in here so that it's not too dark. So before I can start spraying clear coating here, I actually have to finish building. But there's only a couple things, just 2 things. I'm almost done, promise. So I have to build a base here, just like I did on the other side. And I have to build a countertop for this dresser. And I think that's all I need to do before I can... After getting my measurements, I went straight outside to make the cuts. Oh yeah, I gotta cut this wood. Sorry, we'll play later. Okay. What a mess. What happened in here? I took some of the plywood pieces I have left over from this project and I cut it to size to make the support for the base. I then attached the front and back piece using pocket screws because the 1/4-inch plywood I'm using for the top is too thin. It needed extra support, so I took more measurements to cut the support pieces for the middle. So this little base I'm building is not even. Every single one that I had to cut is like slightly bigger than the other. Now I gotta screw them in. The strips that go on the edges, I couldn't use pocket screws because otherwise they would run into the other pocket screws. I didn't have enough of the 1/4-inch plywood that I bought for this closet, but I have this one. Holy crap, that's a big spider, but it's dead. It doesn't really match. Yeah, this is not gonna work. It's way too different, and it has like a million nail holes because this is part of what I use for the bed headboard. So I think I'm just gonna go to the store. They have smaller sheets, I hope. They have like 2x4s, and that would work. So I'm gonna get a new piece of plywood, but that's later because I have to go to the store later. So I'm gonna make the countertop for the dresser now. I gotta measure and cut the countertop for the dresser here, but first I gotta go water my plant. This is what happened to my last plant before I started using Planta, which so happens to be today's sponsor. Planta is the only app that creates smart personalized schedule for each one of your plants, so no more guessing when you have to water them or why they look so sad. After losing our last plant, we got spiky, which I picked up with the help of the Planta app. I was able to check that it was safe for my cats and easy to take care of. The best part is that I don't have to water consistently, and when I do, Planta reminds me, so no more plant funerals. Planta adapts to each plant's unique needs using over 30 different factors like local weather, temperature, and even how close it is to a window. And the app has some really cool features like Dr. Planta, which helps diagnose issues and set up a treatment plan. There's also plant identification, so you can scan a plant and instantly get the name of the plant and care instructions. Oh, and you can even measure light levels in any room and see if it's a good spot for your plant. Plus, Planta has a community where you can ask questions, share tips, and connect with other plant lovers. I've had this succulent for a while and it was looking a little sad, but thanks to Planta instructions, I was able to bring it back to life and I added some new friends. And I even got some feedback from the community. I was hesitant to get more plants after the last one didn't make it. I actually just get fake ones because I'm so afraid of them dying, but with Planta, I'm actually confident that I can keep them alive. And while I was plant shopping, I had so much fun scanning different plants to see which ones were the best fit for me and safe to have around my cats. So if you want to check out Planta, click the link in the description to save 30% off Planta Premium and try out all their features. Thank you, Planta, for sponsoring this video. You know, every YouTube video I've watched this month has the scenery shots of the snow, the winter, and it looks so pretty. But I don't have any snow to show you. I actually have to mow my grass. I needed to add spacers before doing the countertop. The spacers help secure the dresser in place and it gives me something to attach it to. Do you remember the complicated cut for this countertop? For this countertop. Not as complicated, but I still have to do the little two lips on the side. So, wish me luck. Misty! Hi, Misty. You want me to throw the ball? Is that what you want? I didn't drop it on you this time. It fits. I'm getting good at this. I have to cut the dresser back. I forgot to cut the depth of it. Oh, but that's no problem. I can run that through the table saw. As far as fitting, I think it's pretty good. There you go, that's better. Still fits. So we're good. These are gonna be rounded a little bit, so you know, I don't like, that will cut my neck. You see how short I am? Like, I gotta cut.
Oh my god, Tiffany, that is the cutest saw I've ever seen in my entire life. It's like a baby.
I know, right? Don't make me talk like that ever again. So I have this little mini saw. It's super cute. I got it, you can get blades for it to cut metal, but it has a blade that you can cut anything else. This will be anything else. This part right here is like higher than the dresser, so it's hitting the countertop. So I need to cut it off a little bit. I didn't want to bring the whole circular saw, the jigsaw here, so I'm gonna try it with this. There's not an easy way to like see what you're doing unless you take the guard off. So that's the downside of the saw. You can't really see what you're cutting. But I'm not gonna take the guard off because there's a reason it's there. I should have brought the mask. I have been wearing a mask, I just forgot, okay? I'm gonna get roasted in the comments. Now we're talking. Yeah. We're good. What now? This is very dangerous. I have a white shirt and I'm painting something black. And this is not a shirt I would like to ruin with paint. I have ruined a lot of clothes with paint. What do you think, Tony?
It's a bold choice.
What I'm going for is what matches best with the dresser. They probably all look the same, I know. So this one's a color match, like they actually color match the color of the dresser. I took a handle and it looks pretty good. The second closest is Tricorn Black. This is the dresser color, the custom match. So it's slightly lighter. But I think I'm gonna go with a color match. I have a problem, but it might not be a problem, but in my mind it's a problem, and I think it's just anxiety. So they gave me a sample in the wrong brand. Now I have decided that I want to pick the color match of the dresser. That is the closest match. I was hoping I could just pick one of those because then it's easy. I'm like, this is the color. I can get it in any brand that I want, doesn't matter. But now I'm afraid that when I go to Lowe's and I tell them that I want this custom color that they mix on a Vaspar, but I need it on a Sherwin Williams paint, I'm afraid that one, either it can't be done and they have to custom match it again and then it doesn't match. But I might be just overthinking this. It might just all be fine. Hi, this is future Tiffany. It was not fine. Now we gotta go to the store to get paint.
And plywood.
What do we need plywood for?
You said you need
plywood. Yes, and plywood. So I went to Lowe's, and all of my anxieties about this paint became true. So I walked to the paint desk and, I told the guy, hey, I just want this paint sample mix, but in a gallon. And the first question I asked, is it okay that this is a Vaspar sample mixed into a Sherwin Williams? Will that make a difference in the color, or is it easier to just get a Vaspar paint? He's like, oh no, we can, mix it, no problem. Okay, I go walk away for a few minutes, get everything I need to get, come back. It's like, hey ma'am, I have a problem. This is not going into the gallon, like it's not mixing. I'm like, okay, well, I have the handle that they took the sample from, so you can just do the sample, do the color matching again. He's like, oh, that's perfect. So he was happy, I was happy, but worried, because what if the color match doesn't come out, again. But whatever, I'll just, let him do his thing. Went away, picked up a couple more things, almost had a heart attack when I picked up the clear coat because it was very expensive, but I need it. And then come back, and he's just shaking his head. He's like, I can't mix this. I'm like, what's going on now? He's like, the color is not mixing. And I can tell he tried. He had like 2 gallons he had messed up already. One of them was gray. One of them came out greenish. Like, it was definitely the wrong color. And I'm just like, oh, he's like, I'm sorry. I don't know what to do. Like, it's like, if the computer doesn't mix it, it's not like I can mix it manually. That was really the perfect color. So guess where I'm at? So I just got done shopping at Lowe's again, and guess what? They got me a perfect match. I'm so happy I got the right paint this time. I was so happy. And I told him everything that happened at the store. He's like, yeah, sometimes the computers give us problems. Yesterday it was this computer. This computer was giving issues. So it was worth the trip. I got the color I wanted, and I am no longer stressed. Okay, now we're gonna have dinner. Before I started on what I had planned for the day, I needed to cut the 1/4-inch panel to size and finish the base. Well, I usually use painter's tape when cutting cross grain. It's pretty bad, but it's the only piece I have this size. And I'm not gonna buy another one, so I'll touch it up. I get the suggestion to mix sawdust with wood glue to fill holes all the time, but there's a reason I never do it and I want to show you. I filled up some of the holes, but the wood glue in the sawdust always dries darker than the wood, leaving the nail holes just as visible as the nail hole being there in the first place. Maybe I'm mixing the wrong ratio, I don't know, but I've always had this issue when I do it. So I went and got wood filler, and it's not even the one that I like to use. This is a little orangey, but I think it's gonna match better than the wood glue and the sawdust. And then the journey of a million nail holes began. After filling all the nail holes, I had to spot sand everything. I didn't want to use the sander in here to avoid a mess. I gotta wipe everything down because, you know, obviously it's like a little dusty in here, and after that I get to tape up everything because I'm gonna spray clear coat to seal all of the wood. I keep asking myself if building these outside, like in boxes, would have been easier and to paint them outside and then bring them here. I'm leaning towards, I think that would have been faster. I know it would have taken more material, like more wood. I think it would almost double the material to build each box individually and then put them together. I'm not a big fan of like spraying inside because of the prep, but it's a really small room, so I think this will go quickly. We'll see. I noticed this a while back, but for some reason, it finally shocked me. The prices of paint are ridiculously high. I can't believe that I spent over $200 between paint, primer, the clear coat, and miscellaneous stuff that I needed to prepare for paint. The sad part is that I don't even need that much paint, but the options are a quart or a gallon, and a quart isn't going to be enough, but a gallon is a lot, and I wish they had a size in between. I don't normally buy cheap paint, especially when I'm doing such a dark color, because otherwise I'll be stuck doing coat after coat after coat to get it to cover correctly, so I'd rather pay a little bit more and be done in 2 coats. But even if I did get the cheap paint, it's still quite a lot. So I'm sealing all the wood with polyacrylic max, which is water-based, and I specifically chose water-based because of the smell. It doesn't smell as strong as the oil-based, which I always use polyurethane, but it is so strong that I just didn't want that smelling here. But I did use it before on the bed frame that I built, and I really liked it. It's 1 coat, although I have my doubts that this will work in 1 coat. I think it's gonna take 2. I'm also gonna spray it, and there's no instructions of how to spray it, so I don't think it's meant to be sprayed, so I don't know, I'm experimenting here. I'm hoping this will come out okay. Hi, this is future Tiffany. Oh, you sweet summer child. You have no idea everything that's about to go wrong. This suit is really hot. Like, I am already hot. I just put it on. Oh, I want to show you what you look like. Look at you. I bought a little piece of glass to put over it and very creatively taped it. And you have a little bit of plastic around. Look at you. You're adorable. There's like no easy way to stand this up. Yeah, I got as much of me as I got on the sprayer.
Do the test piece first.
The sprayer is not the right sprayer to use. And I knew this and I still went forward with it. I've used this for many projects and have very mixed results, frustrating results. It doesn't spray even. I think it's meant for very, very thin paint. And I just noticed that it was just spraying very inconsistently. And I did not want to fight with it. I have a big sprayer, like a real paint sprayer that you can paint the whole house with, but I didn't want to use that one either because it's too big for that little of a spot. Like I would have to get like a bucket of water, like prime it, and then like the hose of that sprayer is so long that it would just waste a lot of the clear coat. I just didn't want to use that one either. So I decided to go to Lowe's and get the right sprayer. Since I'm sure this is not the last project I will need a sprayer on, it will be a good investment. But I'm just annoyed because I should have thought of this before. And anyways, I'm just annoyed, okay? This is interesting. They have one that connects to a drill, but I don't know, I'm not sure about that. And then they have this one, which I think is the one I want. And they have one that you can connect a DeWalt battery to, but it is. And if you're wondering why I'm not getting these right here, I used to have one. I used it once, couldn't use it after it clogged so bad that I couldn't use it again. So I'm willing to spend a little bit more because I paint a lot. I want something that it can last me a long time. Give me a second. I'm eating my M&Ms. I think the candy helps with the stress these projects cause sometimes. So I passed by the paint department and the same guy that couldn't mix the paint the other day was there. He asked me if I got the paint and I'm like, yeah, I got it. They were able to, mix it for me. Must have been the computer. He's like, no, it was my fault. There was a thing that I was supposed to do and I didn't know. I'm so sorry. I'm like, man, it's okay. I got it. I got the paint I needed. It's all good. But I appreciate that he, he acknowledged that it was his fault. He apologized. People make mistakes and, that's okay. Yes, it took me an extra trip, but then we went and had dinner at a nice restaurant, so it was all right. So now I'm going home with my brand new sprayer and hopefully, maybe today I can get a clear coat on. Okay, rant over. At least this one stands on its own and I can pour easier. I needed to plug it in. I had the wrong tip again. This comes with a stain tip and a paint tip. I thought maybe being a clear finish, I would use the stain tip so it goes in thinner. I don't know. I guess the polyacrylic's pretty thick, so the paint tip is the one that works for this. That's a lot though. See the problem? You see how that's dripping? Okay, I gotta get the hang of this before I start. I decided to try it on the bottom half since the dressers are gonna cover that part, but it wasn't working out. I just really want to scream in frustration right now. The clear coat was dripping a lot, and it didn't matter how I sprayed it. I tried different distances, different speed settings. I tried holding it straight, holding it at an angle. Nothing worked. It just kept dripping. This is not gonna work. The gun is just like spitting everywhere. And I don't even know if it's my fault, if the product's not meant to do what it's supposed to do. So I finally gave up on the sprayer and decided to do this by hand. I grabbed a mini roller and a brush and I started applying the clear coat manually. The polyacrylic doesn't include any instructions for rolling either, just brushing. But I figured a roller couldn't be any worse than the sprayer. Honestly, this product probably isn't meant to be sprayed, which explains why I'm having so many issues. But I like experimenting because that's how you learn, and at least hopefully you won't make the same mistake. For the finish, I picked satin. That's usually my go-to finish. I usually don't like the look of semi-gloss. It's too shiny. Flat is hard to clean, so it's not the right finish for this. So satin is a happy medium. It's not really flat, but it's not really shiny. But I'm kind of curious to know, what would you have picked? Do you like semi-gloss better, or would you have gone with a satin? Since I won't be spraying, I guess I won't need this. I love this part. Just ripping everything. There's no audio, but this is basically what I said. What do you think? I know, it looks exactly the same. I went through all that trouble, and it looks the same. Then after that, I explained that I needed a second coat because the surface feels pretty rough, which I expected. Every time I do a clear coat or even primer, the surface is always rough, so I have to do a quick sand to make it smooth. And then I'm not sure what I kept talking about, but this went on for another minute and a half. So that's the summary. I'm sanding with 320 grit. It's just a very quick sand by hand. I apply no pressure and it's just enough to make it smooth. Kind of worried about what this room looks like now. It's fake, it's fake. Just FYI, it's a joke, okay? Just a joke. Why do you have a fake arm, you might ask? Well, I just like to dress up as a zombie sometimes. High five. I can't remember if I mentioned this before or not, but the walls in the closet are not normal. They are shiny. They must have like a melamine surface. You know how melamine is like glossy and shiny? So I'm afraid that the paint will peel right off. Actually, the paint will peel right off because of the samples, I could take my nail and just like, and it will come right off. So I got a bonding primer to avoid that. So I'm gonna prime the walls. This side of the cabinet is also gonna be painted, just the outside. But that's the only thing I'm gonna prime because I think everything else should be fine with 2 coats of paint. I've heard that if you're painting in a dark color, that it's a good idea to tint the primer to get better coverage. So when I went to buy the paint at the first store where the color wasn't able to be mixed, the associate also told me that they weren't allowed to tint the primer anymore. So I didn't get the primer tinted, and I'm just doing white primer. It should be okay though. I got pretty good quality paint, so it should be covered in 2 coats. While the primer dries, I'm gonna try this out on the trim that I have to paint anyways. And if it looks promising out here, I'm gonna go ahead and spray the closet next. It clogs a lot. It clogged again. This is not looking promising. I mean, the finish is nice. It's doing what it's supposed to do, but it is clogging every second. Clogged again. I had to go refill it. This whole thing gone, and just the trim. I'm not even done. But I did lower the speed. Maybe I had it too high. I'm still not sure about the sprayer, but I really wanted to try it on the trim. I mean, it covers really well when it works, but it clogs quite a bit and it ran out of paint so quickly. Part of what I thought was clogging was running out of paint, but it did clog a couple times. I just hope that doesn't happen inside because to unclog it, I have to turn the knob and basically like it shoots at a very high pressure. I don't think that's a good idea to do inside the closet. It works okay other than that. I wouldn't say I'm impressed with it. Okay, let's try this again. I'm excited. I'm excited but scared because I've never done a black ceiling and I'm just wondering what that's gonna look like. I usually buy tools only when I need them. If a project could be more efficient with a certain tool and I can afford it, that's when I make the purchase.
Oh no, don't do this.
So for this project, I thought it was a good chance to invest in a smaller sprayer since my pneumatic one didn't work out. Plus I've always wanted a smaller sprayer for small projects. The sprayer would have been a great idea for the closet shelves because there were so many fixed shelves to do a coat around, and doing it by hand was time consuming.
It's dark in here. I definitely need a more light. I knew that was gonna happen. Don't worry.
But instead, I spent a lot of time troubleshooting the sprayer and it didn't work out. I ended up cleaning 2 sprayers by the end of the clear coat. And since I wasn't sure the sprayer was working properly, I decided to spray the ceiling and walls even though I originally planned to paint them by hand. I needed to test the sprayer to know if I should return it. Honestly, I'm not impressed with the sprayer, but I thought a smaller sprayer would waste less paint than my big one.
This will be my 3rd refill that I have to do.
Which was the main reason for buying it. I also thought it would be easier to clean. It wasn't. It took almost 3 quarts of paint for the trim, the ceiling, and the walls. By the second coat, I was almost out of paint, and I still need to do touch-ups and more trim, so I might end up buying more paint, which is funny because I was complaining about not needing this much. But I'm keeping the sprayer because I did figure out how to use it, and I know it'll be useful in the future. But if I could go back, I wouldn't have bought it. I would have just painted everything by hand or try using my bigger sprayer. I don't know what all that protection around my face was for, because look, I got a little something in my nose. It feels like entering a different dimension when I come in here. This is wild. Okay, I'm gonna start taking everything off and see how this turned out. It doesn't feel like a room in this house. Like, it is so wild, so different. In a good way. I like it. I like how this is turning out. And I've been wanting to experiment with designs in the rooms, and I feel like the closet is the perfect space to experiment, to go bold. So I'm glad I did it. I love the black ceiling. I don't know why, but I love the black ceiling. I'm changing that light fixture. There needs to be more light in here. I'm gonna put a light up here and a mirror. I love how this is turning out. Like, this was so cluttered. We could barely get in here. I mean, we get in here to get our clothes and stuff, but now this is gonna be our dressing room. We used to get dressed in our bedroom and we always had like a mess of clothes and laundry. Not anymore. Like, this room, this is it. Like, we will be able to get dressed in here, keep all the clothes in here, keep all the laundry in here, which is gonna make our bedroom less cluttered. So it's not only like looking super, super pretty, it's I think the functionality of it is going to be worth it. This is amazing. I'm just like impressed with how this is turning out. I still have more to go. I gotta do all the trim work. I gotta do the wallpaper and the mirror, a few other things to make it look pretty. A quick thank you to all the patrons and members. You guys are awesome, and thank you everyone for joining me in this journey. I will see you on the next video.